Yeah, you probably heard about that fast food CEO who actually took a sample of his burger, took a bite out of his burger, and had an unusual reaction to it. And you've probably seen plenty of other corporations, entities, jumping on the bandwagon, making fun of that one CEO. And it's weird that that came about, but this is, 21st century, and I think anything, goes pretty much. But this is a little timely because of last week I read a blurb from Meta Misfits, and I kind of wanted to dive a little bit more into the book, relaying what CEO or mysterious Corbin Corporation does at the start of Meta Misfits. There's the book on the Kindle app, and I want to just talk a little bit about the antagonist, who in the first chapter of the book, we nobody really knows who Corbin is because as it says in the first few lines of it, let's see here. But to describe Corbin, well, took quite a stretch of the imagination, which only the most ardent of these bored minds achieved. Some claimed he was 6'4" and quite hairy. Others swore he was 5'1" and bald as a plucked chicken. Some of them even thought Corbin was a social media bot who had hacked into the home office of El Rancho Burgers in the commercial district of Greensville late one night. So, in that one paragraph, everybody's like trying to wonder who this person is, and unlike the CEO from you know the corporation here, uh, people are you know don't have a keen sense about him and or her. They don't know who is actually behind the Corbin entity. They just go on their own speculation, the speculative minds, feeding off the gossip in each other. And so when we get to the first chapter and we're going through this, there's only one person who doesn't really pay much attention to that, which is our protagonist, Scotty Brenson. He pretty much works as a in trash collection, and he he hears about the gossip like anybody else, but he doesn't tend to pay too much stock into it. He's just trying to live his life, from day to day, pay the bills, just not too much that sort of thing. So, but the part of it is, and it gets into this further down in the chapters, that he knows he hasn't reached his full potential, and one of the reasons why he's kind of like taking a lax attitude towards what he could achieve is that it comes to light in the first chapter that his parents, especially his dad, uh, who is Pa Brenson, Jake Brenson is his actual name, but Guy, of course, refers to him as Pa, is always riding his tail pretty much for every little bit of thing that Scotty can possibly do wrong. So uh, does talk a little bit about Scotty's personal beliefs, but he tries to banish thoughts of his dad whenever possible because he doesn't like to dwell on things, and his dad, likes to push his buttons. So he decides to go to lunch for an El Rancho Burgers, which in the story is the forefront of Corbin, and as I established a moment ago, and when Sky's trying to go for lunch, he encounters a group of protesters, and lo and behold, it doesn't take more than a couple moments for Sky to realize that his dad is in the thick of this protest group, and what Pa is protesting is the name of the restaurant of all things. And he's actually protesting the blackberry mint lemonade and talking about people flipping burgers and whatnot. So Scotty mm, honestly does not know how he managed to come up in his childhood without, picking up on some of his dad's rants, other than the fact that he pretty much kept himself whenever he could and, read books whenever he could. So he tries to distract his dad from, the protest rally that, you know, is just causing other patrons who want to actually dine at the restaurant from being able to enjoy their burgers. So he tries to talk his dad down, but as the rest of the chapter goes, he the two of them kind of start almost clashing, until an officer pulls up and uh, asks what's going on. Then we find that the elder Branson is tells the cop that he wants the name changed and he's not going to move until the name of the restaurant gets changed. So, um, but the cop tells him that he can't block the entrance to the premises, and the protest group eventually disperse. You know, Mm. And Scotty tries to take his dad home and that sort of thing. But throughout it all, in the first chapter, Corbin still remains an unseen entity, and throughout the rest of the story, the mystery behind Corbin is one that Scotty, though he may not have intended to solve, if he finds himself ending up having to deal with this on top of everything else that he's got going on.